In a movie like this that has all these different points of view, do you find that you have to sort of redefine the core of the character based on the perspective that that the audience is looking at, or do you feel that the movie sort of does that for you?
Half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a certain bits of the story we had to more than changing, the course of the character, we had to probably adapt, the performance or the solving of the conflict to the vantage point that was, at the moment, happening. I mean, sometimes you would be, in someone else's vantage point, and we had to kind of accommodate, the intensity of the scene, to the requirements of this vantage point for storyline purposes.
Mm-hmm. How essential is it to create or have sort of a backstory for the character, because the movie is sort of completely revolving around one singular sort of event?
Yeah, it is pivotal. I mean, that is something that, at least in my case, I always do. I mean, for me, it is very important to rely on something that is real. So I always do, research, and I always do like a very, very, accurate homework before coming to set. Because as you said, I mean, the movie practically happens in 23 minutes, I mean, the event, the whole anecdote. But before, getting there, I mean, before all those characters, interact within those 23 minutes, I mean, they were human beings with a whole background, a whole backstory, and it's important to bring that, because although you don't see it, you feel it. Mm-hmm. And you feel the dimensions of the characters, and I think that is something very important.
Mm-hmm. In your three sort of most visible English language films, I mean, Domino, the Bourne film, and this one,
yeah.
All three of them have very distinctive sort of visual styles.
Yeah.
How does that impact sort of the way you develop the character or the way that you act, if at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that our job as actors is to focus on the story of our characters, try to work out the humanity of our characters and all. I mean, there is a technical dimension to movie making, and you have to be very aware of that. Mm-hmm. But in a way that doesn't interfere or affect or alter, the commitment to the truth that you should have always with your characters.
Mm-hmm. So generally speaking, do the logistical demands of a movie like this, particularly where you have to sort of be at a certain point at a certain time, is it difficult to balance sort of the emotional demands of the character and those sort of logistical things where you have to be at a certain place?
Well, more than difficult, it is challenging, but that is the thrill and excitement of doing movies. I mean, how do you put together, how do you integrate, all the technical requirements and all the logistical, requirements without affecting, the commitment to the truth that you always have to have towards your characters. I mean, that is precisely the key, because on the other side, you don't shoot chronologically. I mean, you go back and forth, in time. So that is the challenge. How do you keep coherence to the arc of your character, taking into consideration and assimilating, all the technical requirements of movie making. That is what excites me the most.